Greetings and thank you for joining us. I'm Angela Coleman with Sisterhood Agenda, and today we're going to talk about multicultural feminism, embracing diversity and inclusion in the era of empowered beauty. In essence, what we're talking about is the multicultural beauty movement. The multicultural beauty movement is about being yourself, being beautiful, but above all, just being you. Loving who you are and accepting, embracing, promoting different aspects of beauty and opening your mind to the possibilities of what beauty is and what beauty looks like. The multicultural beauty movement doesn't really have hard set rules, but one thing that definitely is abundant is diversity. It is a definite embrace of diversity and inclusion. And this is connected to power. How is it connected to power? Well, when we love ourselves, when we embrace who we are as unique individuals, we embrace our culture, our ethnic identity, we respect ourselves and we respect other people and other people's cultural identity and choices. That's empowering. When we're able to reset and even redefine what reality is, redefining what beauty is, the standards of beauty, that's empowering. And it's completely linked to a womanist or feminist consciousness in terms of how we feel as girls growing up and how we feel as young women and adult women. But it doesn't just affect women, it also affects men. This is a power dynamic in which appearance in our society is more valued for women. But it's how men treat us as well. It's what men accept as beautiful. It's what men think is beautiful and what men regard as beauty as well. So we want to include them in the equation too. And that's the connection to power as well. So what we're looking at when we have a multicultural beauty revolution or movement, we have an increase in these four factors here. We have an increase in cultural identity and pride. We have an increase in gender awareness and sexual freedom, self-determination, and also this absolutely affects your civil rights. It affects civil rights in terms of your ethnic group or cultural group, but also as women, it affects your group and your identity, your gender identity, your cultural identity, how you feel about yourself. So times are changing for sure. You know, things are different than they were 10 years, 20 years ago. And what we are talking about today is opening your eyes to seeing that things are changing. Even year to year, things are changing and things are different. What this kind of all boils down to, in my mind and from my perspective, is a struggle for freedom. Audre Lorde, she's one of my favorite authors, poets. She was a librarian, a researcher. She's an activist. Awesome woman, and my favorite quotes from her are these three: that revolution is not a one-time event, that it is not our differences that divide us, it is our inability to recognize and accept and celebrate those differences. Those are the things that divide us. And finally, this is a wonderful affirmation. An affirmation is positive self-talk. You know, that is affirming and helps you to feel good about yourself and do things that maybe you wouldn't ordinarily be able to do. I am deliberate and afraid of nothing. That's something that's helpful to you to get up in the morning. You can look yourself in the mirror and say, I am deliberate and afraid of nothing. I am deliberate and afraid of nothing. That's empowering. So in this new age of multicultural beauty, you can be anything or anyone. So you don't allow other people or other things to define who you are or what you are. There aren't any limits. Now, this is more than just about beauty and fashion, although a big part of it, of course, is beauty and fashion. This is about economics, politics, it's psychological, it's physical, and it's spiritual. How so? We can exercise our economic power in many different ways. One way is a boycott. When we don't like, for example, a fashion blogger or a beauty influencer, We can ban them, we can boycott them, and we can unsubscribe from their network, or we can choose to not buy their products or throw away or burn their products. That is showing your power as a consumer and saying, I used to buy into you or your image or what you were selling and buying, but I'm not doing it anymore. We also exercise our political power in terms of representation. Where we are, whether it's in Congress and an official seated position in government, or also activism, what we decide to focus on that is politically important to us completely can be related to this multicultural beauty movement. It's psychological because it's a reprogramming literally of your mind. It's rethinking the way you used to think about yourself and other people. Of course, it's physical, literally. We're looking at ourselves, we're talking about our bodies, we're talking about makeup and hair and clothes. But also, physical in terms of, for some people, it's about health. Your health and self-love can absolutely holistically affect you physically. And so, look, we're also talking about spirituality, whatever your belief is. These ideas, these concepts, they're transcendent. They mean everything. It's the whole thing. We're taking you in as a whole individual when we're embracing your beauty and your essence. So above all, too, it's about attitude and self-expression and the freedom to feel how you want to feel and express yourself the way you want to express yourself. The power comes in because we are actually changing reality. So when we used to believe that we had to bleach your skin, you had to straighten your hair, that black meant ugly and evil while white meant pretty and pure, we're changing the reality from self-hatred, stigma, and shame to something completely opposite and different, to something beautiful, wonderful, and majestic. Your heritage, your identity, your self-acceptance. For example, Black is Beautiful is an example of a multicultural beauty movement. Black is Beautiful encouraged Black women to accept and love themselves. Self-acceptance is the key to healthy self-esteem. So if you don't accept and love yourself, your self-esteem suffers. Black is Beautiful promoted acceptance of natural facial features and hair textures. Black is Beautiful is the foundation of Black pride. And this was true of Black men as well, but it was especially poignant and true for women and girls. Loving yourself and loving each other. That's what this multicultural beauty movement is all about. The Sports Illustrated swim issue of 2019 illustrates this beautifully, because look at all the diversity that's in there. That was atypical. Things are changing. Times are changing. We know that you are unique, not just in terms of physical appearance, but also your spirit, your essence, your soul, your gifts, your contributions. They're all different, and no one is the same. We're allowed to express that beauty because you're beautiful. You're beautiful in your own way. You are special in your own way. You are your own creation. Enjoy it, have fun, express yourself, do things that you want to do that make you feel good. So looking back at how that empowers you, power, as we're defining it, is the ability to define reality and have others accept that reality as their own. So if I say the sky is purple and everybody else agrees that that does look like purple, it is more purple than anything else, I'm in a powerful position. Power is also access to critical resources, whatever resources those are. For young girls playing with dolls, those resources regarding the multicultural beauty movement and beauty might be having appropriate dolls to play with, culturally appropriate dolls for her to play with, so she sees herself in that doll and she sees herself as beautiful. And of course, freedom. The freedom is key. When you have freedom, you have power. At Sisterhood Agenda, we also promote what we call self-definition. That's the process of understanding and appreciating yourself as a unique individual, but not just that. It is also a posture of resistance against others who try to define you. So it's also saying, I am myself, and constantly you're going to be bombarded maybe with other people, other images, other stimulation, where they might be trying to send you a different message. So that posture of resistance against others who are trying to define you is inherent in the self-definition process. That is an important aspect of it. So what's the new reality? We are reversing the stigma. This is a movement for positive change and respect, and the multicultural beauty movement is no different, for example, than Me Too and Time's Up, because we want positive social change and respect. These movements often include hairstyles and clothes, like the natural hair movement. It also leads to increased self-esteem and positive self-concept, the concept of how you come to view yourself in the world. You have more self-affirming media and opportunities in this new reality. New beauty standards are being defined in this new reality, and there's a rejection of the dominant culture's notion of what is beautiful. It's replaced with this new reality of what is beautiful. Where are we today? We have Afrocentrism, an embracing of African and African American culture. We have body positivity, but we also have a backlash against this new reality. We also have cultural appropriation, which we're going to talk about in a minute, what that is and what that means. That's also in response to the new reality. So the movement requires sisterhood because you need collective buy-in and mutual respect of each other's cultures, of each other's agendas, and ideas of beauty. So cultural appropriation, the unacknowledged or inappropriate adoption of the customs, practices, ideas, etc., of one people or society by members of another and typically more dominant people or society. So these are examples of cultural appropriation. Sometimes you might say, oh, imitation is flattery, but other times it's just cultural appropriation, which is actually inherently disrespectful. It can be cartoonish, it can be costumey, and what makes it more disrespectful is this part, the first part, the unacknowledged or inappropriate adoption of the customs. So if you don't acknowledge where it comes from and the source, and you try to embrace it or you just commandeer it and try to present it like it's your own thing, that's what tends to lead to other people feeling disrespected and ignored without acknowledging the source of that beauty. Not saying it's not beautiful, but saying that you just kind of took it over and acted like it's your own. So what is happening when that happens? Well, it's actually a natural phenomenon because you have an acceptance of dominant culture, beauty ideals, but you're mixing and sometimes even clashing with the new reality of the multicultural beauty movement. So everyone, including dominant culture and non-dominant culture, men and women, we're questioning these social constructs. We're questioning what is beautiful, and then we're saying, oh yeah, I like that, and they're taking that and trying to appropriate that, and oh, I like this, taking that and trying to appropriate that. And we're also looking at the ultimate appropriation, which is through plastic surgery. We're seeing new, really highly technological procedures that are being developed in order for people to look like someone other than themselves, to look like a different race, a different gender, or to have different body features, different noses, different lips. Hair has always been an issue as well, where you can change your hair to look more like the other. So whatever that other is, that is part of what's happening now. So ultimately, it's a new identity that's being gained, and the old one is being discarded. And that's a process. This can take years or it can happen very quickly. So you have all of this going on too. Yes, you can have an afro too, even if you have straight hair. Yes, you can have baby hair and you can do this. So it's like, I like that, but I'm going to make fun of it, or I like that, or I'm going to exaggerate it, or that's hot right now. People like to see this, so I'm going to put that in my video, but it's tongue in cheek. I'm actually disrespecting it. I'm not respecting it. Different aspects of culture or body type or identity, and of course of beauty. So how can we tell when it's real? What are some indications and indicators of multicultural beauty? Well, it's really more internal. You see some of this, the first three, positive self-esteem, ethnic identity, and cultural pride and self-acceptance, that's internal to a person. But we'll also look around us and we can see how much and to what degree are we embracing, really truly embracing multicultural beauty. Look at the popularity of natural hairstyles. Is the media affirming and uplifting? And what organizations exist that help to promote this message, that are consistent with this message? And those organizations might also include companies who are really jumping on the multicultural beauty bandwagon and saying, hey, we want to accept all women. And that's advantageous for them because that's the majority of the population. So we are Sisterhood Agenda. We're celebrating our 25 years of service this year. We are a positive force for positive social change. We are Sisterhood, and thank you for putting sisterhood on your agenda.